Hi guys, welcome to this video on the Asian Champions Trophy. The purpose of bringing 3 of our 4 reporters who covered this tournament is to basically look back at some of the stories that we've had the pleasure to find out or read over the last fortnight, and basically look at how India's victorious campaign spanned out over the duration of the tournament from eyewitnesses who were there to see the entire tournament in person. So with us today, we've got Keerthivasan, Uthra, and Aashin. We're missing Abhishek, who's a little under the weather, but you can catch up with all of his stories. We'll put the link in the description of this video. You can go and check out everything that he's covered during this tournament as well. So the other 3 of you, welcome to this video. How are you guys doing? Have you finally had a night's sleep, maybe, after the tournament is done?
I had a good sleep, yeah.
Aashin's soul is crying out through the video.
He has one more story pending, so yeah.
I was just waiting for this tournament to end. Just finally finished with my last story from this tournament. So today will be a good night.
So party.
No, I just want to sleep.
All right, Uthra, what about you? I see your stories are in as well. So time to relax finally.
I sleep well, touch wood. Nothing stops me from sleeping. So yeah,
Good souls.
that's a good thing, I guess.
Brilliant. Exactly. We've got a mix of everything. Okay. So before we sit and talk about our own health,
and thankfully
mental
I'm
health,
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
And thankfully I'm done with my stories too. So yeah, I'm like done and dusted for this tournament now.
Yeah, standing
Brilliant.
ovation. Needed.
Aashin, take notes.
No.
Okay, fair enough. So all of the kidding aside, the tournament over the last, say, 15 odd days, and even before that, in the build up to it, has taken a lot of work that the 3 of you and Abhishek have done to basically bring a context to the tournament, a context to the kind of matches that are happening here, and reportage of what actually happened at the venue to all of our viewers, readers, listeners, whoever's checking out stuff on the Sportstar website. So whoever wants to go first, can you give me, now that we're done, right, with the tournament, what did you make of the entire campaign? Because international hockey's come back to Chennai. We've had a nice tournament, which was quite decently attended as well. But what did you make of just the atmosphere and the fact that the city got to host international hockey again after such a long time? Keerthi, sir, you want to get us started?
Yeah, personally for me, it was fantastic because the build-up we did along with Lavanya. So the start, the build-up and the end was perfect for me. So India winning the tournament and the build-up we all did, the venue change here and there, the practice stuff coming up, the new turf being laid. So we did a lot of print stories and online and video stories. So it can't get better for me personally.
Did it live up to your expectations, basically, of everything that was being sold to us, right? Of hosting it here and doing all of this in such a big way? Did it live up to all of those?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the final, overshadowed everything else. Whatever little cribs we had, the final, overtook everything. So perfect ending.
Yeah, it took time to warm up, I guess. I mean, hockey is coming back here. A lot of people didn't even know. I mean, an entire generation's come up without knowing that the city has a hockey stadium and has hosted hockey tournaments. So it took some time to warm up, but I guess, midway through, things did start getting better. And like Keerthi said, this was perhaps the best final they could have had. I guess even if it was totally in India's favor and it was a one-sided thing, the crowd won't really have enjoyed it that much, because it would have been an expected thing, and you always want a good fight in the final. You don't want a one-sided final. So I guess the crowd did get its worth eventually.
Right, absolutely. Aashin?
Yeah, and personally, from the hockey side of things, like on the pitch, I felt that this was a tournament for India to win. And I also kind of expected India might kind of cruise through in the final, considering they had beaten Malaysia. But for them to have this kind of test which they have had, they've played a lot of hockey in the last month or so. For them to have that final test of coming back from 2 goals down to win the final was great. And also to get a closer look at who are these opponents who they might be coming up against in the Asian Games, which is the Olympic qualifier. Outside the pitch, to see the fans coming in droves to watch and support the team, not just the Indian matches, pretty much for the other games as well. And I don't know how many were keen on just watching the hockey, because most of the time it was just partying in the stands, from the stand opposite to us, which is they had some great music and a vibe like going on over there. But even at the end of the yesterday's final, when I was like going down to the mix zone, you could see like you pass by the spectators, and some of them like a couple where they're talking about like what was the rule there, like what happened exactly, for them to talk about and then like understand the sport better from close quarters. Nothing can be better than like having a tournament like this in the city for the sport to further develop.
Right, fair enough. I can't agree because when we came for the India-Pakistan match, I was sitting in the stands. There were people calling Krishan Pathak Patanjali, and then they didn't know who Srijesh. Yeah, they didn't know who Srijesh was. They didn't know a lot of the players who were there on the field. So I'm assuming this is, like Uthra said, this is a good entry point for so many people to actually get to know the national team also, given that they don't play here very often. So we've basically heard a lot of India because obviously fans here would want to see the Indian team. There's been a lot of coverage. These people are quite savvy on Instagram, social media, everywhere else as well. But what I'd like to know from the three of you is the other 5 teams, right? There's so much we don't know about the players, so much we don't know about their style of play. And this is all for hockey correspondence. That's one separate conversation altogether. But the crowd, like Aashin pointed out a few days ago, there was so much support for the Malaysians, so much support for the Koreans. What did you make of that basically? What did you gain? Like, what did you sort of see in terms of crowd support? Are people actually aware of the players they're calling out for or having placards for? What was that like?
So I think on the first day, opening day, the first match was Korea versus Japan, and you could see like a bunch of Koreans, like close to 50 numbers, like turning up. And I think like you told us that like that most of them are located in Velacheri, living here. So Keerthi and I got a chance to go and speak to them, and then they said like they are someone who follow the national team regularly, but then since they are here, it was a chance for them and their kids to like come and watch them. Like the kids were enjoying and having fun. Even like I think on the semi-final day when Pakistan was playing the first place match, I think there were a couple of Pakistan fans with the large Pakistan flag on display. And yeah, so I was surprised to see that there were so many different nationalities in the city as well. Like there was a Malaysian flag on the final day as well. Yeah.
The best part was the players also responded after the match, or they waved to their Korean fans. So that was, they knew how much the fans mattered to them.
Yeah. Uthra?
Yeah, I guess the Malaysians, a lot of Malaysians, I mean, yeah, there used to be a time when there was always at least 1 or 2 players in the Malaysian squad with their roots in Tamil Nadu. But this time there isn't, except maybe the coach and the assistant coach. But yeah, I guess Malaysia has always been pretty close to Tamil Nadu because there is a connect between Malaysia and the states. So there were quite a few supporters for Malaysia here. And Pakistan, yes, I was surprised to see a few Chinese too. I am not sure whether they live here or whether they've traveled with the team or whether it's part of the diplomatic corps or something. But even China had a few supporters in the stands. So I don't think any team was bereft of support from the crowds. And even the general crowd, the neutral crowd, the Indians out there, we're just there to enjoy, and a good match is a good match regardless of who plays on the field. So they were there to cheer and have a good time, and I guess that's what it matters in the end.
Like even on the last day for the third place playoff game, a section of the neutral crowds they were taking sides between South Korea and Japan. Like one was chanting for Japan owners, chanting for South Korea, which was also like interesting.
That's nice. So there were a lot of school kids, especially during that India-Pakistan game, like some Jain public school with the Odaya school and all had come. I think they had randomly split them up into countries or something, but they took it so seriously. So it was a little jarring for like the Pakistan players and the Korean players and all near the goal. They were like, what? Why are they screaming our names? Who are these people? And then there were guys going and getting autographs and all. I don't know if they even know who these players were, but it was really crazy to see. Just because there is sport, there are people to like take it in. So that maybe was a positive for the tournament. But yes, coming to the tournament itself, I think let's address the elephant in the room at all times in Chennai, the humidity, the conditions, the heat. We had some really, sorry to use the word, crappy weather over the last fortnight. We've seen some intense heat. We've seen rain. We've seen some threatening clouds, but no rain. There's been like a mixed bag of weather conditions, isn't it? How have the other teams coped up? Must have been really uncomfortable for them.
Yeah, it was. But then again, you're playing at a level, when you're playing at this level, you have to be prepared for it all. The Tokyo weather during the Olympics wasn't anything great. I mean, if anything, it was perhaps worse. It was one of the worst summers that Japan had experienced. And if you remember the India match, the bronze medal match against Germany was scheduled in the first half of the day. It was really bad. And no one complained about the weather in Olympics because it is the Olympics. So you can't pick and choose whether to complain about depending on what tournament you're playing in. It's the same for everyone. It's not like suddenly the weather goes good when India's playing. It was even playing the 8:30 match at night. It may not have been very hot, but the humidity wasn't any less. You could see the players drenched after 5 minutes on field. So the humidity was out there, and even at night. So I guess it was bad, but then all teams had to adjust. Malaysia, if anything, had it easy because they come from a weather which is so much similar to what the city has. So I guess Malaysia did have an advantage. Even India did not have that in the initial matches because they were coming from Spain. Even though Spain's pretty hot and they've had a bad summer, it wasn't humid the way this city was. So technically, I guess the first few games, even India wasn't having any home advantage even while playing at night.
And
Yeah, but that was fair to everybody, so it was bad. Equally, it wasn't playing favorites, so it was bad to everybody.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate with the timing of the tournament because it was reported that this was one of the hottest August recorded in Chennai. And it just so happened that, coincided with the tournament. And most of the coaches who we spoke to, we're speaking to, no one complained about it because they and themselves said that, like, they are coming from conditions which is very similar, or where their conditions right now, they are experiencing summer as well. I managed to speak to Arul Anthony Selvaraj, the Malaysian coach, who said that, like, how much weight they have been losing since the time they have come here. Close to like 2 to 3 kgs. Some is what, like, the players have lost over the sorry over the course of the tournament. But that's something which he feels is normal because, and with current advancement in technologies, they have the nutritionist on board to, like, adjust to such demanding conditions as well.
Right, absolutely. As far as changing conditions, changing recommendations go, there's also been on the other side of the aisle, bureaucratically rather, not diplomatically. We've had the FIH penalty corner rule changes that have been discussed throughout this tournament. We've been constantly going back and forth about, will it be implemented? Will it not be implemented? Should it be implemented? Can you guys just give us a lowdown on what this recommendation is, which now the FIH has said that they will not be testing, at least for teams that haven't qualified for the Olympics? Can you just take us through what this mess was entirely about and why it unfolded here?
Honestly, I think people went a bit overboard with the whole proposal thing because like I call it an experimental proposal on trial. So you can imagine how far removed it is from actual implementation. And the FIH document that came out, it made very clear that they have just started talking to National Federation on who might be interested in volunteering for these rules changes and having them in their tournaments on a trial basis. So I guess to some extent, yes, the media too went overboard and they took it a bit too seriously for the stage that it was in. I don't think we did that. We did not really go overboard as a group on whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. We simply reported what has been said. But I genuinely believe that we preempted a lot of speculation. And the rule basically was that instead of taking a hit from the top of the D that normally penalty corners do, the drag flickers, the ball was supposed to travel further out past the 23-yard circle, and then it had to be brought in and then taken a shot. Also, because the ball had to travel outside the 23-yard line, the normal play rules would apply, not the restrictions or the rules specific to penalty corners, whether it was in attack or in defense. So in a way, yes, it would have ended PCs that we know in the way we know about it. But then again, like I said, it was an experimental proposal that still hadn't started trials. So to actually start discussing what it would have meant for world hockey was a bit premature.
Yeah. All right, got it. So where do we stand right now? What is the final
It's been
consensus?
abandoned. It's been abandoned. The FIH president has said very clearly that there are no trials scheduled now. They've abandoned the proposal. They're still looking at other ways to make the place safer for players, other options to maybe tweak the rule around the penalty corners or the track fix. But this particular rule has been abandoned for now.
All right, got it. So now one of the other major takeaways now for us, especially looking at the Asian Games, is how India has performed. Now, as a result of their performances, we see they've jumped up above England. Sorry, Aashin, in the world rankings. For context, Aashin is a big England fan across sports, I think.
No, just cricket and football.
Only, oh, look at that. How convenient. Okay, so India has sort of pipped England and gone up to number 3. Like you guys pointed out as well, besides the final, they more or less cruised through, besides maybe that draw against Japan. But they've also had a lot of takeaways from here. They have, Uthra has pointed out multiple times that they've not been there. They've not had to be there 100% in this tournament for most part of it. So what do you think for India? Each of you can tell me this. What do you think the major takeaways or improvement points, maybe where they can work on ahead of the Asian Games could be, given what we've seen in this tournament?
Personally, for me, I think, they should try out more. Other than, of course, they did through, Harmanpreet was the one who did the major share of, took the major share of penalty corners. They can, and they have 3 or 4 people around. So they can work more around these people also instead of, no. Of course, Harmanpreet is the best, but when things don't work out, the other 3, 4 should step in. So they should work on that also, giving opportunities to other 3, 4, 2 to 3 penalty corners, like Sumitas was there, Jugraj was there, Jugraj was there. So, of course, Jugraj did score a goal, but I think more opportunities during training should be given to them. So if he's injured or no, when his form is not there for Harmanpreet, the other should step in. So that's what my point is.
Okay. Aashin, Uthra?
Aashin?
Yeah, so I don't know what can be addressed, because I feel like, the Craig Fulton, it's just been like 2 months under his charge, and he's also trying to bring in his own changes, but it's not like he's rigid in his approach about this is what he wants. He's flexible in mixing up his tactics. It's not just like keeping the ball passing between the defense and midfield and slowly attacking, like we saw in the final. They went back to their old slam bang wallop style, where they pressed high and then they put Malaysia under pressure, and they're also not afraid in playing long balls as well, when it was needed. So I think they are well set up for the Asian Games now that they know what can be expected from these teams. Like, who they would have seen who are the teams who could cause them problems. Like, we saw how Japan kind of neutralized them in one of the matches. Yeah, so Malaysia's attackers in the early exchanges can again cause them problems. They didn't do so in the first match, but then this was a game which they managed to do. So it's a good learning curve for them.
Right.
I don't know. Just finished about 2,200 words combined for daily and Sportstar. So to summarize the whole thing, actually. In terms of the positives, yes, there's the fitness. Of course, the Indians proved that they are better at fitness than any other Asian team at the moment. We saw them, the Malaysians played really well, but towards the 4th quarter, we did see them stepping down a pace, going on the defensive, cramping up on the field a bit, taking breaks. The Indians were going all out in the 4th quarter. So yes, fitness is a good takeaway. In terms of areas of concern, I think there are quite a few that, again, like Fulton said, we need to get fitter, we need to get stronger, we need to get better. And there are areas you cannot miss chances up there as many times as they did. With these teams, maybe they could get away with it. With maybe a Germany or a Belgium, they won't be able to do that when you miss those chances. They really need to. The good thing is something that Craig has been repeatedly saying, that I do my coaching during the training and not on the field during the game. So it's up to the players to take decisions. I think more than taking decisions, it also makes the players a lot more responsible, because if they decide to do something and it backfires, then they need to put their hand up and say, sorry, it was my fault, which makes them a lot more responsible. The discipline needs to be worked on. We've earned a lot of cards through this, unnecessary cards that really made no sense, pushing or tackling that was not needed and didn't really give you an advantage. So that discipline needs to come in a little bit more. They need to calm down a bit more. But overall, I think it's still a team in progress. I'll put it that way. They're still learning. They're still doing things and experimenting and trying to work out through trial and error. So yeah, good things and bad things. The best thing I think would be, which I think is there for all the 6 teams, is they'll know what they will be up against in Asian Games. And despite the fact that a lot of teams have criticized the scheduling of the tournament, that it's come too close to Asian Games, I'm sure they won't go back very upset, because now they know what they need to do in the next 5 weeks. So in that sense, yes, India knows what Malaysia can do through the 2 games. They were very different games, the way India played Malaysia. So we know what Malaysians can come up with, maybe plan A, B, C, whatever. With Japan, they saw them pushing Korea all the way and finishing 3rd year. So Japan won't be easy at all. Pakistan's also in our group. So these will be tough games there. Pakistan has individual players. Pakistan's still playing the way actually we used to do, or the world used to do about 10, 12 years back, 15 years back. It's a lot of emphasis on individual brilliance, but not so much on team efforts and planning and structure. But then again, it just takes one moment of individual brilliance to turn matches around. And Pakistan does have a few individually brilliant players, so you can't take them lightly.
Right, absolutely. I actually this was going to be my next question, but I'm glad you've put it all in. I wanted to actually ask you guys, what were your favorite games from maybe any 1 or 2 matches that stood out to you? Because for at least from the spectator point of view, this India-Pakistan thing became such a big deal. And we had very good attendance for that game. We've had good attendance for all of the India matches, but we had really good attendance for that game. And there was so much being made of the rivalry. And in fact, we made all of y'all individually sit down and make videos and do copies and do all of that hoo-ha and all of that. And then we've seen just how big the gap is now between these 2 countries as well. So in that sort of a sense, where did this match, rank for you in terms of the good games in the tournament? Which one was your favorite? Which one did you not expect to go as close as it did? Give me your picks, basically. We'll start with Keerthi, sir. I think he's already started thinking.
No. I'm wondering. Oh, of course, the finals, because I never thought, they'll come back.
Okay, wait, let's make this easy. Besides the final, give me maybe one favorite.
I didn't see any match because I was the second guy, so I was thinking of what stories to do. So final, I didn't have anything to do. I just watched the final. I watched it fully. So other matches, I was thinking about what stories to do for the next day. So these 2 can.
See, he's gotten off easy. You think you're getting off easy on this question? We're coming back to you only in the next question. Hold on. Yeah, Uthra, Aashin, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, the final obviously was there, but honestly, I think on the day India-Pakistan played, the Malaysia-Korea game was, I think, really close. They played they play completely different. They have a different style of play. Malaysia play a more attacking, pressing game. They go all out for the goals. Koreans are a lot more patient when it comes. They have that incredible patience to just sit tight and wait for the counters. They don't commit themselves. And you can throw everything at them. They won't really try to break their structure. So that's very typical Korean way, I guess. So the Malaysia-Korea game was very close, and Malaysia were pushed all the way before they won 1-0. I think the India-Japan League match was also good, because that was again a match in which we did come back from 1-0 down. If I'm not wrong, Japan did take the lead in that particular match, and then we had to fight back for a 1-1 draw. So these were good matches, and I guess for the crowd, maybe a draw or a 1-0 may not have been that exciting, because like in cricket, especially the shorter format, you want the 6s and the 4s. You want the runs to be scored. Similarly, you just want the goals out there. You want players to score out. But in terms of the way the teams played and the fight on the field, I think these two really stood out. Okay.
So, like Uthra said, for me, the semi-final between Malaysia and Korea was one of the highlights of the tournament. They started off both ending the first quarter on 2-2 before Malaysia going ahead. I think towards the end of the match, I think that's when they pulled ahead. Another match would be the third place playoff game between Japan and Korea. I think Japan also, who's lost twice to them already this year, having taken the lead. This time they took the lead and managed to win in a very closely fought game, 5-3. Yeah.
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Keerthi sir, now for all the match missing that you've done, you've had a lot of time to,
Doing nothing, yeah.
That's not what I was coming to say. What I was coming to say is you had a lot of time to actually catch up with so many people who've been invited to watch the tournament, or people who had come down, legends in Chennai's hockey scene itself. You've caught up with Adam Sinclair, you've caught up with Vijay Phillips, you've caught up with Bhaskaran at multiple times before and during the tournament. What were all of these people feeling? Because in a lot of senses, we had also reached out to them about what they thought with hockey coming back to Chennai. Were they happy with what they saw? Where do they see this effort being taken forward, maybe from here?
A lot of good and bad things. Of course, all the former players like Vijay Phillips, Adam Sinclair, Bhaskaran were all terribly happy to note that the tournament has come back after 16 years. But the one point that they kept hearing was that how HUTN should have been more proactive and in making them more involved in part of the celebrations and the build up to the event. That wasn't there. So they felt very bad. Only a few people like Riaz were all part of it. Most of them were left out. So they had their own favorites like any association had. So they all felt, a lot of people should have been given more prominence. Of course, they were all happy that the tournament was coming. They'll be enjoying and seeing a lot of matches. But they thought a lot of people, other Olympians and World Cup winners should have got more prominence.
Right.
That's the recurring theme.
Right. So basically, before this tournament began, Keerthi sir and like a couple of us at the Hindu and Sportstar, we had got Mohammad Riaz, Munir Seth and Bhaskaran to sit down and just give us maybe their memories of hockey in Chennai and what this tournament could do for the scene, for the hockey scene in Chennai. So we'll probably give you the link to that video in the description as well. You should go and check that out. A lot of these things that he's talking about are mentioned there, and they also talk about maybe where does this go? Where does this effort to bring back international hockey go from here? What can they do more to maybe sustain hockey in the city is something that's discussed there. So we can check it out whenever you...
What she essentially says is, please do retweet it.
That also. Please do watch and retweet it. I mean, if you're watching this video, it's automatic. You should like, share, subscribe. But yeah, because now Keerthi sir has said it, please do listen. It's imperative that you do. All right. So now from here, we go to the Asian Games. There is a lot to discuss. I mean, in terms of like basically everything that we've spoken about here, and that those conversations will keep carrying on. I think a bigger question would be, do we have a set squad now? Like we've seen this team perform well. We've seen places of improvement. We've seen one or two players really step up and carry the team through, like Harmanpreet, for example. Like scoring onus was largely on him throughout the tournament. He's got 9 goals in the tournament? Yeah. So yeah, he ended up as the top scorer as well. So in that sort of a sense, do you think our Asian Games squad is sort of set, perhaps, for India?
I guess, like most team sports, the core is set, but this definitely won't be the final 16 going over there to Asian Games, 16 or 18. They normally name 2 standboys too. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the final 16 or 18 that does go to the Asian Games. 8 or 10 of them obviously automatically pick themselves, but there are still players that are in the part of the goal group. There were 6 players who are with the team, who were here in the stands, who were with the team and in the stands, and quite a few of them will get a look in. Youngsters like Rajkumar Pal or Abhishek, especially in the forward line, because that's one area that Fulton has been experimenting with. We have youngsters like Sukhjit and Karthi, but then again, there are players like Mandeep and Akash. Mandeep, I'm sure, will be there. Akash, I'm not too sure. It's again a 50-50 thing, depending on what the coach feels about it. Akash has been good. He's done really well here, especially in terms of backing up the forward line and being there at the right movement, maybe. But then again, there are he's been pushed by the youngsters. So that is Lalit is there. who's again an experienced forward, but his graph has been a little bit topsy-turvy since Olympics. So we do not know whether he'll be there. So yes, I guess about 10 of them pick themselves, but there's still a fight on for about 4 or 5 spots.
Okay, interesting. Fair enough. So these are conversations we'll continue to have. Are we missing out on anything maybe that we should have discussed?
I think as far as the city itself is concerned and the infrastructure is concerned, they really need to develop it, because to be brutally honest, you need two turfs to host any international tournament. And Chennai's managed to get away with 1.5 turfs. The practice turf at the back was just about, it's about half a turf. So they got away with 1.5 turfs.
They relayed it from a tennis court, right?
Yeah.
So they have only half a length.
The
But
before
that's
videos are available on Sportstar. Go check it out.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
FIH normally has this rule. They're very strict about it, that you need at least 2 pitches, proper match pitch and a second training pitch, which is again international level and competition level. So they got away with it, but I'm not sure whether if it's a bigger tournament with maybe more teams or something, they'll be able to do that. They need more turfs. They need to spruce up I mean, you were there for the India-Pakistan match. It's the main stadium is done, but the other parts are still under construction types. So they really need to work on that and make it a better experience for players and for the public, because the public, honestly, again, on the other 2 stands where where there are no stands, actually, it's just the concrete stands, no seats or something. It is not easy for the public to be there at 3:30 or 4 in that heat and weather to sustain themselves. That's also a reason why a lot of the crowd did start coming in for the second and third matches and not so much for the first, because you can't blame them when the temperature is soaring the way it is here at this moment, and the humidity, heat all taken together. You don't really expect people to be sitting on concrete stands at 3:30 or 4. It's not possible. It's not fair on them also. So in that sense, yes, they've done a lot in 3 months, which is a great thing. It's really appreciated, but they really need to do a lot more to take it a bit further, a notch higher.
Uthra, there's a doubt. Is there any FIH rule that states that the practice turf should be within the complex of the main turf, or it could be?
No, it's not. No. There's no rule which says inside the complex itself, but it has to be accessible enough. I mean, it can't be at the other end of the city types. So it has to be somewhere close by, not too far off, where the teams can go and practice. But there has to be a complete full-length turf for practice matches.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. Aashin, I think you were going to say something, and then we cut you off.
Maybe also adding to what Uthra was saying, the press box is something which also could do some.
Why? What was your experience? That was going to be my final question. What was your experience in the press box like?
It was like one of those desks where you sit in school where the.
It was the same seat, right? The same yellow whatever seats, but you all had a table, is it?
The single seat.
How was the internet? That is my biggest question.
Internet wasn't an issue for me. I think it's just you have to squeeze between stands and between the desks to move, get in and out of there.
So once you got in, that's it. I mean, after the match only you could come out.
Oh gosh,
you're stuck for life.
And then they have placed these boxes as steps to get out of one platform to another, and people some of them actually tripped on that, which is very dangerous.
Oh gosh, yeah. Okay.
Honestly, I guess the press box or the media center and the media boxes were perhaps an afterthought. Honestly, that's what I felt. Because I remember, and I do have photographic proof of the 2007 edition, and it was better organized in terms of the press, the media tribune, and the media center. It looked a little bit thought out. This time around, it just looked like they finally decided that they need a place for the media to sit to. And the tribune itself was something that I'm sure they thought that people would all be inside the media center. And then they realized that there are too many people, they won't fit into the media center. So they decided to have the seats outside, the tables outside. But then again, it was something like it was a last minute kind of preparation. So that does need to be sorted out, because people keep coming in and going out, and they keep moving around, and they can't be expected to leap over chairs and seats every time they do that.
Yeah, actually, it's a no-brainer. No, they had an advance number of people who are going to come.
Exactly.
I mean, planned much better.
Right.
Right.
On
fair
the
enough.
on the flip side,
I'll-
I would also say that maybe all of us have been spoiled bad by Bhubaneswar and Rourkela, because the facilities there are good enough to spoil you. And
Like Mac, I mean, where the Chepauk Stadium is there, maybe similar to that could have been planned at the Mayor Radhakrishnan Stadium. If anybody would have gone to Chepauk press box. Aashin?
Sir? No, I
Chepauk
checked.
press box.
I
I'm
think
wondering.
I didn't have much
I'm not
memories
cricket
of it. Like,
buff.
I just gone there once.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
huge
that was
play,
like
no,
five
Yeah,
years
it's a
back.
lot of
dedicated
jump.
area.
Yeah, AC.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather also made it bad. No, to sit there in the humid weather and watch.
Hey, but you're feeling the same thing as the players. That empathy can come through in your reports. Maybe that's what they
Yeah.
wanted.
It didn't come. Sorry. Next time.
Fair enough. I mean, all of you are giving us
That-
like massive perspective. Yeah,
we are
sorry.
too we are too tough-skinned and hard-nosed to feel any empathy for those running on the field for 60 odd minutes.
Oh, gosh.
Uthra is Uthra. Uthra is always upfront. Bear. Bear it all.
Fair enough, fair enough. We need one upfront answer for you from you guys from this also. Now, one of the important things when it comes to crowd experience is the DJ. And you all have had, I think, 15, 16 days of listening to all the vibes of the stadium. So what did you make of that? Because I heard there was some starting trouble in the beginning.
Starting
As
and
far
end
as-
trouble. So throughout the tournament, they were trouble. If we don't.
Oh, give us
At the
some
mix-
feedback.
Yeah,
Give
no,
us some
no.
feedback.
Basically, anybody, I think Aashin and Uthra will agree. At the mixed zone, when the players are speaking, the music at its loudest, at that time, maybe that time the players enjoy, I mean, the spectators enjoy, that's a break. Maybe the music should have been quite less because we couldn't hear what the, players and the coaches were saying. It was too gaudy and too loud. I mean, we Uthra was shouting a couple of times. Yeah, I could.
No, you had to shout there to make others listen to what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
saying, or even make them
Absolutely.
hear what you're saying. But yeah, I guess there are two ways of looking at it. If you're seeing it from a general crowd perspective, then that's the time to celebrate. And for them, the loud music doesn't really matter. It's the louder the better with the music and everything. For people like us who want to get a word in or talk to them, then it becomes difficult. And that's something that's been there all through. We have struggled. We've requested them to at least lower the noise, lower the sounds for at least 5 minutes in the mix zone when we are there. But I guess that doesn't really work with
You
the
same in
DJs
Bhubaneswar
or
also?
something.
How was it? A similar thing in
It was
Bhubaneswar?
same.
It does, but over years they've improved. I guess with experience, the DJ and the organizers and the PR, everyone's kind of developed an understanding of when to lower the music. But when it started out, it was as bad there. So I guess I'll be the devil's advocate and say that they were playing for the public, not for us. And
Yeah, that's true.
Fair enough.
like
For me, I
everywhere
think
else and all the time, we weren't really the priority for anyone.
Never at all. When have you ever been the priority? Print journalist.
Right. Exactly.
You are not just a print journalist now.
Yeah.
You have
Thanks
been
for
our
reminding
source
me.
of multimedia. Yeah.
Thank
You
you,
can't
You're a
get a
Lavanya.
multimedia
print
guy.
journalist here.
For making me feel good. They don't tell anybody, they'll push me out of print. So it's my bread and
No,
butter.
they'll keep
No,
you in
you-
print and ask you to do all the other multimedia stuff. too.
Yeah, that's more likely.
Keerthi is
So sweet of
irreplaceable,
you.
So
What?
you are irreplaceable, the immovable object.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Pull my legs anytime.
Fair enough. Aashin, you were going to say something?
So I'm just like glad to like finally get that Hockey Hai Dil Mera song out of my head after like 7 months. Yeah, with the Tamil music has like the vibe was like totally fine for me here. I was during work I was also like vibing to the song while working, so it was good for me. Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah,
This
they
is the
had
worst-
some bangers in the
Yeah.
playlist, no? It was
I
quite
guess
good.
the worst part for us was that ironically all those big speakers around the ground and the turf were great for the spectators, but right above the media tribune there were huge speakers that were blasting at full volume, which weren't really needed. I mean, there was no audience here that wanted to hear them at that volume, so the placement of the speakers needed to be tweaked a bit.
My God, I hope people in the organizing committee are going to watch this. Maybe we should send them a link. If we are sending them a link, we need to tell them the parking was abysmal. I don't know if you all had that experience. I don't know. I have like ripped clothes because there was some other
Yeah,
bike passing by.
the bike parking was
Was
issue.
Free pass, right?
absolutely
Free.
terrible.
You don't
I'm
have
sorry?
to
And
pay,
there
right?
was hardly
You don't
any
have to
car
pay.
parking. So
No, you didn't have to pay. But the thing is, because they didn't have dedicated areas. So when I went for the India-Pakistan game, I ended up parking in between two cars, okay, which at that point looked great. There were cops everywhere. There was lighting everywhere. But then by the time we finished and I had to meet like Uthra to do like a post-match video, by the time I went, not one soul existed there, okay? And I'm assuming this is that records,
No
that
lighting.
premises, right? Yeah, so when we went there was no light at all and I couldn't find my bike. So I was like, oh God, I have to tell my mom that someone stolen my bike because I couldn't spot it there. And then it was under some tree with all that banyan stuff like all over the seat. I had to think twice whether I wanted to touch my scooty or not for fear of what I'd take back with me. So like, yeah, that was really bad. It was really dark also. And there's if the tree catches you, there's no one to scream out for help also. There's not one person there. Yeah, so
Safety
that
of
was really
journalists,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah, that was really bad. You went off. You should have waited and ensured that your colleagues
I was
get there safely.
chauffeur driven by Mr. Vedan, so I didn't have a choice.
Oh yeah, Vedan is our photographer. He couldn't make this call, but if you guys want, I mean, all of our stories carry his images, so please do go and check out all of the work that he's done as well. So yeah, I think that sort of sums up. I think we have like a 360-degree perspective on this. Overall, if you had to rate the tournament out of 5, how much?
For me, 4.
6.
Oh wow.
The performance experience, the actual game part, I would say about 6 or 7, and the rest of the stuff, it's about between 4.5, I would say. So,
This is very funny because I asked you all to rate this out of 5. So you all have given it
exactly.
6.
That's
you
why I
said
wondered.
5?
He said
I thought
6.
it was 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said 4.
Okay, then
Aashin said 6.
2.5. Sorry.
Yeah, so then it would be like about 2.5 for the rest of the stuff, and the actual games and everything would be somewhere about 3.5.
Not bad. Okay,
And
fair
worst,
enough.
you forgot about the tickets. So being
Oh,
a senior,
yeah.
being a senior journalist with the Hindu sports for 23 years of experience, the office values you for the kind of tickets you could get for them. So I really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, you've been the bakra for this,
Yeah,
no?
They value me for that.
You're the de facto ticketing agent for Hindu.
I don't know whether they value me for anything else, but for this, they source tickets and wait for the people who didn't turn up eventually. So.
Oh no.
That's bad. That's bad.
Oh yeah, that's not great.
They're all so-called big people. So you have to call them, are you coming? Said we will come. And they had to go down and they didn't turn up. So it was a bit.
So Keerthi sir basically found a very nice way of having this conversation by not talking to them directly, but sending them the link of this video with the timestamp.
What else to do being a poor journalist? At least you have to say through some medium. It just come through.
Just be grateful that you don't cover films, because then you'll have bosses asking you to set up videos and selfies with the stars.
Yeah,
that's more difficult.
Yeah, my God, I think that did happen. Not here, not in the movies, but here I think Sardar had come for the India-Pakistan game, and the Pakistan team was leaving. Not many people knew who any of the players were, but they knew Rehan and they knew Saklen, they knew Sardar as well. So there were people saying, introduce me. And these were like TV channels and like actual reporters and people like that. And even like dignitaries who were like, introduce kara do, selfie lena. And I was just standing there and watching all these people having these conversations. Like these guys were so approachable. So Keerthi sir, you've got away very easy, looks like.
It was actually fun to see a lot of the volunteers, the kids around, and even a lot of like youngsters, general public, taking selfies with Manpreet's wife. It was actually cute but funny when she was waiting for the team outside, because she was staying separately, not with the team, of course. So she was waiting outside near the team bus to meet Manpreet and then leave. And because she was wearing the team jersey and the kid was wearing a jersey, so they all wanted selfies with her and the kid, and it was cute. It was funny but cute. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, all right. So I think that sort of sums up our little. We've spoken for, oh gosh, close to an hour. Okay, good luck everybody watching this. It's a worthwhile conversation. I think you should definitely check the entire thing out. Thank you, the three of you, for spending some time and talking about the tournament. It was great fun doing all of the work that we did along with you guys as well. Hopefully, we get to do it again during the Asian Games.
Yeah, thanks for motivating us, Lavanya. Thank you for the videos.
Thank you.
Ever
And,
there to cheerlead, ever there.
thank you, and good luck with the scissors. Snip, snip, snip.
I know, right? Yeah, especially for this also. Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you.
All the best, Uthra, for the Asian Games. Good luck to you. Do well.
Thank you
as
so
always.
much.
Yep.
Thank
All
you.
the best,
All
Aashin.
right,
Aashin.
see you.
Chalo.
Aashin,
See, he's only said all the best to the
Thank you.
Hindu. We'll say all the best to the Sportstar side also. All right, so you guys can catch all of our coverage on Sportstar. For everything else, we'll make their handles available. Do follow them and follow Sportstar on social media as well.